Welcome back to the channel, where nature constantly proves that reality can be stranger than fiction. Today, we're exploring 7 of the most unbelievable flowers on Earth. Some look like tiny human figures. Others resemble brains, babies, or even a pair of bright red lips. One flower is so unusual that it seems to belong in outer space rather than a garden. These aren't special effects, and they certainly aren't AI-generated images. They're all completely real. So sit back, relax, and prepare to question everything you thought you knew about flowers. And if you enjoy discovering the hidden wonders of nature, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have plenty more incredible stories waiting for you. Let's begin. Number 7. Snapdragon. Most people know the snapdragon as a cheerful garden flower. Its colorful blossoms look almost like little dragon mouths, and if you gently squeeze the sides of the flower, it appears to snap open and shut. But the real magic begins after the flower dies. As the petals wither away and the seed pods dry, something remarkable happens. The pod transforms into a tiny, perfectly formed skull. Look closely and you'll see hollow eye sockets, a grinning mouth, and a shape so realistic that many people assume the photographs have been edited. They haven't. These miniature skulls are completely natural. Native to Europe and the Mediterranean region, snapdragons have fascinated people for centuries. During the Middle Ages, the dried seed pods were believed to possess protective powers. Some people hung them in their homes to ward off evil spirits and bad luck. Even while alive, the flower is surprisingly selective. Its petals remain tightly closed, allowing only strong pollinators, such as bumblebees, to force their way inside and reach the nectar. It's a flower with 2 very different faces, bright and cheerful in life, mysterious and almost haunting in death. Number 6. Naked Man Orchid. If flowers could tell jokes, the naked man orchid would definitely have a sense of humor. Native to Italy, Greece, and other parts of the Mediterranean, this remarkable orchid produces blossoms that look astonishingly like tiny human figures. Each flower appears to have arms, legs, and even anatomical details that make people stop and stare. It's almost as if hundreds of miniature people are dancing together on a single stem. The resemblance is so extraordinary that the flower has inspired myths and legends throughout the Mediterranean for generations. In local folklore, these little figures were said to represent spirits celebrating the arrival of spring. Ancient Greeks were equally fascinated by this orchid and used it in traditional herbal remedies more than 2,000 years ago. Unfortunately, this unusual flower is becoming increasingly rare. The naked man orchid depends on very specific environmental conditions and is highly sensitive to habitat loss and climate changes. Today, finding one growing in the wild is considered a special experience and a reminder that some of nature's most unusual creations are also among its most fragile. Number 5. Swaddled Baby Orchid. Deep within the cloud forests of South America grows one of the most heartwarming flowers on Earth. At first glance, the swaddled baby orchid appears to be an ordinary white blossom. Then you look closer. Inside the flower is the unmistakable shape of a tiny baby wrapped in a blanket. The resemblance is so convincing that it almost feels impossible. This orchid was first documented during an ambitious botanical expedition through South America in the late 18th century and quickly became one of the most intriguing discoveries of its time. But the baby-like appearance isn't just an accident. Like many orchids, this species relies on clever tricks to ensure its survival. Its specialized structure creates a temporary chamber that traps visiting insects for a short period of time. During their brief stay, the insects become covered in pollen before escaping and carrying the flower's genetic material to another bloom. Throughout its native range, the swaddled baby orchid has become a symbol of fertility, new beginnings, and good fortune. It's a perfect example of how nature can create something that feels almost emotional. Number 4. Monkey Face Orchid. Imagine walking through a misty mountain forest and suddenly realizing that a flower is staring back at you. That's exactly the experience people have when they encounter the monkey face orchid. Native to the cloud forests of Ecuador and Peru, this orchid doesn't vaguely resemble a monkey. It practically is one. Each blossom forms a tiny primate face, complete with eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Some seem happy, others look serious, or even slightly annoyed. Every flower has its own expression. And as if that weren't strange enough, This orchid also produces a delightful fragrance that many people compare to ripe oranges. The sweet scent attracts tiny fungus gnats, the flower's primary pollinators. As they investigate the bloom, they inadvertently transfer pollen from one flower to another. The monkey face orchid thrives in cool, humid mountain environments and can bloom at almost any time of the year, provided the conditions remain stable. But these forests are increasingly threatened by human activity and climate change, making this remarkable flower more vulnerable than ever. It's one of those rare moments when nature seems to possess a sense of humor. Number 3. Brain celosia. At first glance, you might think someone placed a human brain in the middle of a flower bed. But what you're looking at is actually brain celosia, also known as coxcomb. Its dense, folded blooms twist and curl into shapes that look remarkably similar to brain tissue, or even colorful coral reefs. The resemblance is so striking that many gardeners stop in their tracks the first time they see one. Originally native to parts of Asia, this flower is now grown around the world because of its extraordinary appearance and brilliant colors. But its unusual structure isn't simply decorative. Those countless folds dramatically increase the flower's surface area, helping it attract pollinators such as bees and butterflies. Brain celosia is also surprisingly practical. In parts of Africa and Southeast Asia, the leaves are eaten as a nutritious leafy vegetable, often prepared in soups and stews. Even more impressive, a single ounce of seed can produce tens of thousands of new plants. Nature clearly had fun designing this one. Number 2. Hooker's lips. Some flowers are beautiful, others are unforgettable. And then there's hooker's lips. Before the flower fully opens, its bright red bracts form a perfect pair of lips that appear ready for a kiss. The resemblance is so uncanny that photographs of the plant regularly go viral online. Native to the rainforests of Central and South America, particularly Colombia, Costa Rica, and Panama, this plant uses its striking appearance for a very practical reason. Those bright red lips act as visual beacons. In the dense jungle, they attract butterflies and hummingbirds from great distances, guiding them toward the tiny white flowers hidden inside. In a way, it's nature's version of clickbait. Unfortunately, the popularity of this plant has also brought unwanted attention. Habitat destruction and illegal collection have made hooker's lips increasingly difficult to find in the wild. One of nature's most famous floral illusions could someday disappear entirely if conservation efforts fail. If you've enjoyed today's journey through nature's strangest flowers, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. There are countless hidden wonders still waiting to be discovered. Number 1. Passion flower. Our final flower may be the most otherworldly of them all. The passion flower doesn't resemble a plant from Earth. It looks like something from another galaxy. Its center erupts into an intricate arrangement of colorful filaments, geometric patterns, and delicate structures that resemble sea creatures, jellyfish, or even futuristic spacecraft. Native to the southeastern United States and parts of South America, this extraordinary flower has fascinated botanists and artists for centuries. But its incredible design serves an important purpose. Those elaborate filaments act as guides, directing pollinators, such as carpenter bees and hummingbirds, toward the flower's nectar, while discouraging less effective visitors. The passion flower is also an essential host plant for several species of butterflies, including the beautiful Gulf fritillary. Its role in the ecosystem is just as impressive as its appearance. For many early explorers and missionaries, the flower's unusual structure inspired religious symbolism and gave the plant its memorable name. Today, it remains one of the most instantly recognizable flowers in the world. It's a perfect reminder that nature's imagination often exceeds our own. From flowers that become tiny skulls to orchids that resemble babies and monkeys, and from brain-shaped blossoms to flowers that look like bright red lips, nature has shown us once again that it is the greatest artist on Earth. Every one of these flowers represents millions of years of evolution, creating shapes so bizarre and beautiful that they seem impossible. So now, we want to hear from you. Which of these 7 flowers amazed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this adventure into nature's strangest blooms, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another journey. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep exploring, keep wondering, and remember, nature always has another surprise waiting just around the corner.